Even if there's a rough exterior here that's been shaped by this world, this woman is a victim of this world. She's not the thing to be hated. Would you ask your children, what do you bring to the table? And you're like, oh, no, because they're children. Okay, well, wait a minute, hold on. But you chose to have the children, right?
True.
You chose to bring them into your life, to support them and pay for their food and take care of them and protect them. Why'd you choose that? Those are the things that you plant, because you're not going to get those right away. You plant those. When I tell guys what to look for in a woman, I tell them two things: that she treats you like a king and that she has a high desire for you.
Clear.
Yeah, you have to see the beauty deeper in. And you have to say, even if there's a rough exterior here that's been shaped by this world, this woman is a victim of this world. She's not the thing to be hated, right? And we all are. I mean, because a lot of men talk about Western women, but what about Western men? Like we talked about at the beginning of the versus the episode. Russian guys, where they want 50-50, where they don't want to protect and provide, where they're not stepping up, where they don't have any pride in being a man. You know, all of these things. So you're also brainwashed, right? Yeah, I get women are brainwashed by society, by, you know, the liberal politics and wokeism and all this stuff, but you're also brainwashed by a different set of things. And there's men that are brainwashed by that too. But as a man, you know, why are you asking? If you're asking the question, what do you bring to the table? You're also brainwashed,
right?
Because you got, because that's not how it's supposed to be.
By YouTube.
which man that's a really masculine man that you can think of ask that question? Like, if you really think about that, not any that I can think of. The other, I got another one for you, another argument against this, which is because you're talking about children. Would you ask your children, what do you bring to the table? Right? And you're like, oh, no, because they're children. Okay, well, wait a minute, hold on. But you chose to have the children, right?
True.
You chose to bring them into your life, to support them and pay for their food and take care of them and protect them. Why'd you choose that? What value did they bring to your life? What do they bring to the table? Oh, because they're intrinsically valuable because they're your children, because
they just exist. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Can you imagine that could be possible for a woman as well? Like,
well,
you get it with children, right?
Men's defense is that unconditional love is only for children.
I get that. I get that. But that's I would say that's even just besides the point, because there's no point in arguing that.
Right.
Because it's besides the point. So what? So you're still making this choice, and you still have an example of
that it's possible. Yeah.
Something that you're not asking the question, what do you bring to the table? Like, everything in your life is not transactional. Some things you love just because you love them. Do you ask your dog, what does it bring to the table? I mean, some people do. They're like, okay, it's a hunting dog. It needs to, you know, it does got to whatever. But it's a companion. So there's a lot of instances where you're not everything in your life has to bring something to the table that's tangible. Some things you just want because
they are what they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well,
that's my argument.
Let's go into some of these answers, I guess.
Oh, okay, yeah, let's talk about.
I'll do the 3 that were on the podcast Instagram, which you guys need to
follow,
interact. Yeah. You know, follow us, interact with us. But the first one is, the question is too confrontational. I would only ask if a woman acts entitled.
Yeah.
And I get that, but also if she's acting entitled, shouldn't you just not go on a date with her again? Like, that's probably the better way to handle that, in my opinion. And it is confrontational, but at the same time, if you believe it to be true deep down in there, and just, okay, wait, this actually proves exactly what I said in some ways.
Okay.
That he would only ask if a woman's entitled. So it would only be to put her in her place. But the thing is, it wouldn't put her in her place. Right. Because there's no right answer. Like, you're not proving anything by being like, no, I don't need that. I don't need that. You're not like providing any additional information to why, like, what she needs to bring to the table, or like why it's valuable. Like, you're just trying to knock her down a peg, which I get. Nobody likes somebody that's entitled. Right. But instead of asking her that question because she's entitled, you should just not go on a date with her. And that would prove more of a point than being like, well, what do you bring to the table?
And you're measuring her by the wrong yardstick if you're asking her what, you're asking because she's entitled, because you're measuring her by your metrics.
Right.
Which it's like going to a dog show and then, the Maltese is measured by a different set. The German Shepherd, you don't take the same characteristics that make this Maltese a prime specimen as a German Shepherd. They're different. They're different breeds. They have different things that make them good for that breed. Men and women have different qualities that you can't.
Right.
If you ask that because she's entitled and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to put you in your place because do you see, like, I make more money and I do all this stuff.
Right.
You're trying to measure against that.
Now you're entitled.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't work.
So
the next one is, I don't ask that. Wrong mindset, which I think I mentioned earlier. And that's a fantastic answer to that, because we explained why it's better to be a gentleman. It's better to not even have the mindset of what do you bring to the table, because at the end of the day, it's just going to put you down the wrong path with the wrong woman. And that's not what you want. And then the last one we had is feminine energy, support, loyalty, a best friend, respect, appreciation, genuine interests in our interests. And here's the thing with this one, and I'm sure you had some, which you'll have to go over the ones that were on your Instagram, but these things aren't bad.
Right. Right.
And it's not unreasonable to want these things. What's unreasonable is expecting a woman, one, to however many dates in, to give you this spreadsheet.
Right. Right.
Because, and here's why. Support and loyalty and a best friend and, things like that, that's not necessarily something that she wouldn't say on her own. But feminine energy, like we just expressed, has to be protected, has to have safety. And a woman can be feminine on some dates with you, but she's also not going to be fully feminine.
Right.
Because she doesn't know if you're safe yet or not.
Right.
Like, she doesn't know. And if anybody's asking this question past date 3, definitely don't go on a date with them, or like freaking break up with them if they're your boyfriend. If someone asks you in your marriage, it better be a joke, which it should be if you got that far. But I'm saying, like, if this is a question that's being asked past date 3, it shouldn't be asked at all, but that's a huge red flag. But you can't provide a lot of this information.
Right. You have to see it.
When a man asks you this question, because it's way too soon.
Right.
And like, I'm not saying that you should give people based on what they deserve, but that's why when I got asked this question, I would just say, if you don't understand what I bring, then you won't ever understand. Because if I have to spell out for you the things that I'm going to provide to your life, and you're not seeing them from me, from my actions, in some ways, like obviously it's early in the dates, but I feel like you can get a good vibe of how someone is. If you can't get a vibe of the person that I am, you're never going to appreciate me just listing them for you.
Right, exactly. Yeah, yeah. It's
because you don't even see them in front of your face right now.
It's kind of funny too, because you wouldn't ask a friend, like,
what do you bring to this friendship table?
Yeah, exactly. It just wouldn't. And you might say, oh, it's not the same thing because you're not getting married to, and I get that, but at the same time, like, if you're asking this on dates, that's at that point it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I mean, it's a decent answer, like in terms of like these are the things that you would want, but it's still the wrong question to ask. And it doesn't change that.
And just look for those things. Like this answer with all the things that I just mentioned, like those are good things to look for in a relationship, but you can look for those in a person without asking them what they bring to the table. And that's what you should be doing.
And look, what were those things again?
Feminine energy, support, loyalty, a best friend, respect, appreciation, genuine interests in our interests.
Yeah, those are the things that you plant.
Right.
Because you're not going to get those right away. You plant those. It doesn't matter. When I tell guys what to look for in a woman, I tell them 2 things: that she treats you like a king and that she has a high desire for you. Right? So that means that she looks up to you. She has that, right? And that she has high desire for you. Because all of those other things, those can be shaped. Those, if you are acting as a man and a leader, and she has a high enough already, like she treats you well already, and she has a high desire for you, she's going to conform to those things because that's the standard that you're setting in your relationship, in your house, because you're leading her in that direction.
Well, and if you're a man, a lot of these things fall into place. Like we've already talked about, the feminine energy, the respect, the appreciation. You can't admire or treat a man like a king and desire him and not appreciate and respect him.
Yeah, you're going to bring those things out in her.
Right.
That's a
but
thing.
By you being a man, that will help naturally get the things that you want.
Exactly.
Because you are embodying the things that you're like that you also want.
Yeah.
Like you have to be, you know, a gentleman and someone who treats people well to get respect or admiration or whatever it is.
Right.
Like it's very hard. Like if you show up to a date and you're like, what do you bring to the table?
Yeah.
I don't respect you.
No.
I don't admire you. I don't desire you. I desire to end the date. Like, you know, that's so how you act will also determine how quickly you can even get these attributes from a woman. And if you like when you and I went on the first date and you're just right off the bat, you're like a gentleman, a manly man, you can get it as early as the first date. By the end of the date, she'll be acting like you're the king of England.